Hey guys, Vultcha here, and I want to talk about heavy-hitting decks. Decks that make that wonderful crunch noise and break guards and just smash away health in one hit. I love heavy-hitting decks. They're my favorite. Just that crunch right there is so satisfying to me that's what makes me keep playing the game, hearing that crunch. Something also satisfying about, having Pipsqueak hit you 7 or 8 times with the jab and then just crushing his guard and then taking a fifth of his health in like 2 or 3 moves. That's what keeps me playing right there. Now, there are problems with heavy decks, and I want to kind of share with you my thoughts on these problems and how to work around them and even use some of these problems to your advantage. Um, First off, you'll notice I don't have all heavy attacks. You just can't really do that. Um, you need a healthy mix. Now you notice my mix is more skewed to like the heavy hits, but I do have a few quick attacks in there to help mix it up and help me regain control of the situation. If you're all heavy attacks and you have like heavies for starters, you're not going to be able to break out of a situation. So if someone's jabbing you out and the fastest attack you have is like sidekick here, you're going to have some trouble. You're not going to be able to get out. So first thing to talk about is the starters of each deck. Each of my starters are either fast or an avoid. So I have parry and strike, roll back fist, and back trip. Is that back trip kick? I think that's what it's called. Back trip kick. So they're to help me start into something more heavy. Without that first little hit to gain momentum, yeah, you can't. You're just gonna be blocking the whole time. So, also to talk about is having at least one fast combo to keep them, your opponent, I guess, honest. Big problem for having fast combos is getting jabbed out. Slow combos is getting jabbed out. So say like someone is just hitting jab each time they block one of your attacks. You're never gonna get that heavy attack off, and they could pretty much win by just jabbing you out of everything you do. So have at least one fast string of some sort. For me, I have it a loop so that I can use it endlessly without cluttering up the rest of my moves with fast attacks. So it's just these. This is my fast loop. My fast strings, just these 3 attacks. I kind of suggest making it a loop too if you want to keep your deck kind of tight and tidy and maximize the moves you do want to use. So that's the main problem, or one of the main things that you're going to encounter running a slow deck is getting jabbed out. So run at least a fast string to keep them honest. They're going to stop, and especially if that fast string is designed to break jabs. Like back trip kick is great for that. You're not going to get jabbed by elbows or palms because you're ducking under them and hitting them, and it's pretty quick. So, I mean, there are matches where I'll just do this endlessly to like a player who's not too strong and relies on exclusively jabs. I'll just do that the whole time until they get honest. What else? So, another major problem with slow decks is they're easy to track. They're easy to keep track of what moves are coming out. They're just so slow and meaty that it's easy to know what's coming next. So I just have these 3 moves coming out, and so let's do something here. Let's count out 6 moves. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oops, 5, 6. Let's count out 6 moves of my fast attack. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So in that flurry, it's like there's more information to keep track of in a fast string as opposed to a slow string. Slow string, the amount of information that your opponent has to track is much lower than a fast string. So actually, let me give an example of that. I have deck. So in this string I have a horizontal. It's all verticals except for one horizontal. So someone looking to punish the string with like a strafe is gonna have to look in the string for the one horizontal. And it's hard to keep track of where it is. Like, where is it? It's right there. But so much information is being transferred or has to be kept track of that it's difficult. More difficult. I mean, look at this like spaghetti arm madness that's happening. I mean, like, your eyes want to like bust out of their head trying to keep track of that, as opposed to so your opponent is going to know how to beat your moves. They're just going to know because it's easy. Your moves are slow, easy to track, and they're going to know what's coming. They're going to know your deck as good as you are after a round because it's just easy to track. So because of that, you need to really build your deck smartly. Don't just throw in heavy attacks where they look cool. You really need to think about what your opponent is thinking when you build this deck. So here's an example. So let's say I've been doing this the whole match, and their windfall, they're gonna duck it. You know, you hit them with the parry and strike, they're gonna duck right there, or right there, they're gonna duck. So your alternates need to punish what they're gonna be trying to punish you for. So I mean, this goes true with any deck, of course, but it's especially true with slow decks. So your alternate attacks should be drastically different effects than your moves should like mirror each other. So a mid thrust that hurts blocking, as opposed to a horizontal high that can be blocked. So they're very different moves. So it can work the other way too. Let's say I've been hitting them with this a lot. So that, okay, I'm going to roll back fist or, you know, body blow after the parry and strike. And you can punish that response. So here's another example. So roll back fist into spiral palm, and the alternate is spinning flute. So say they dodge the spiral palm, or they're gonna dodge it. That will punish the dodge. So build into your deck alternates that work well together as your opponent adapts to you. Here's another one. So let's say every time I get a Arch Haymaker off, I kick him in the face with, was that back kick? Winged back kick? Pushed back kick. That can that can punish their response. The winged back kick. So that's probably the most important part about building a slow deck, is building these alternates that are different than, you know, your primary attack. Another thing to keep in mind is attacks that kind of, when you do this, is attacks that look similar. So the animations look similar. So the animation for this looks very similar to that in the startup frames. I mean, a player could still track that and know, like a really good player is going to see, you know, your back leg glowing, know the difference between that. But in the heat of a fight, if there's like a lot of exchanges going on and your opponent is a bit distracted on trying to get through your attacks or focusing on their attacks, the difference those animations make can mean the difference between getting a move off or not. Oh, here's another example. Spiral Palm looks a little bit like Spinning Flute. So moves that kind of look the same. Here's another example. So this is my fast string. If you look at the third kick, what is it called? Mawashi again? I forget. Mawashi. Kind of a bad move, but it works well in this deck. So it's like a thrust high. And an easy to punish point in this silly loop. So instead of this, I could do. So sidekick looks a little bit like Mawashi. A little bit. So in the heat of an exchange, it's going to be a little bit hard to distinguish, at least on the startup frames. On those few frames of ambiguity can help. So let's talk about actually playing this deck. A deck like this. Probably the best skill you can learn is feinting. Feinting is going to get you how you land those big blows. Because your big goofy attacks are gonna get parried, dodged, absorbed. Because they're kind of easy to do that too. So how do you get around that? Is with feints. So this is one of my favorite feints to do. So let's say this kick, front kick, gets rollback fisted in a match every time. That will beat the rollback fist. And it's a big hit. And it doesn't matter what hit you land, as long as if you land a hit. So if you get that through feinting, so be it. So here's another one I like to do. I'll do this. So charge haymaker is pretty easy to dodge. You have a lot of frames to just manually dodge it, and that's probably the most common way people are gonna beat my charge haymaker. So what I do is, and that kick will usually get them. They'll dodge and then try to do a jab of some sort to get their chain going. Oops. I haven't played yet, so I'm all rusty. Alright, goes. Like that. Let's say they're even beating that out. You can do it with that kick. So spiral palm is always dodged, parried, or manual dodged, strafed. So a lot of times the damage I get off is not in the combo itself, but it's on their response to my combo, because everything is... people are going to be expecting to parry that or whatever, and they're going to... so let's say I'm caught, and someone's throwing charge haymaker at me. Let's say this guy's throwing charge haymaker at me. So he's going to throw it, I'm going to absorb, and then start my combo, like buffer a move. So if you're doing that, if they're doing that, you're going to catch them. So absorb and then kick. So like they're absorbing right there when they think the charge haymaker's going to hit them. So feints. Feints are key. Probably one of the most important aspects of playing a heavy deck. It's how you're going to get your hits in. Because they're going to be looking to punish your slow moves, and you punish their punish. And sometimes that even means multiple feinting. I do that against really good players, so this is a feint I do against good players, because sidekick is in a lot of decks, and it's one of those moves that players are like instinctively wise to and know what the startup frames are. They just know it. So like when it comes out, they're like, time to parry, because I know it's there and I know what to do, and it's muscle memory. Like I said, I'm not warmed up this morning. You do this right, so it's... So that's like the double feint. Here's another one I do. That's probably the more common one I do. The double feint. I do this against Newport and he wrecks me though. I mean, it won't work against someone like Newport, but most players, it's gonna fuck them up. So, with your feints, you should probably think about what your feints can get away with. So, let's use this example I've been using. So, that example there on the pushed back kick. So let's say they're parrying or absorbing. They can absorb the haymaker. They could parry and blow their parry on the haymaker, and then also still parry the pushback kick. So here's the example. So they can get two parries in there. So parry, parry. So they can still parry you on your follow-up. So they can blow a parry and then get a successful parry if they're paying attention. So this comes back to using fast attacks in your deck with the slow attack. So let's look at the deck real quick. So if you notice, my alternates, I typically don't have a really slow attack that can move into a really slow attack. Usually it's at most a medium attack and a slow attack paired. So another example. So that's a little bit faster than that. So that's like my slow punish, and that's my bit faster punish. That can still get parried too, but that's the idea with the deck building side. Oh yeah, I guess I'll give a quick recap. Pick moves that look kind of the same. You can get more hits in that way than you normally would. Make a deck that has appropriate mix-ups that do different things. I'll actually give you an example of a bad mix-up I have. Where is it? I think I got rid of it. But I used to have that into jump out elbow. I think it was jump out elbow. Come on. So, okay, this is a bit of a bad mix-up. I still do have it. So that kick there at the end, axe kick. Its alternate is jump out elbow. Oh, I guess it's not. Used to be? Anyways. Let's build a bad one as an example. But upper elbow, that's good. So this would be an example of a bad mix-up. Into axe kick, or come on, fingers. That's a bad mix-up because the answer to axe kick is the answer to pushed back elbow. It's the same thing. You know, strafe, straight move, manual dodge, similar parry timings. So you might as well not even have an alternate if you have a setup like that. It makes no difference. They're basically the same move as far as what they beat and what they don't beat goes. Back to kick. Oh, yeah, and feints. Get good at feints. Oh, I did want to talk about stances and just general idea of building stances themselves and kind of making stances be an answer to a specific thing. So this is my counter pressure stance. This is the stance I use to break out of their pressure. So starts with really quick move. It's also a parry move. And then it goes into kind of a medium move. So this is kind of... This is the string I use against people who are kind of trying to spam me out with jabs. So parry and strike can beat a jab outright, or I can absorb parry and strike to get the hit. And if you land the hit, side kick will beat any jab they can throw out, I think. If it doesn't beat all of them, it beats like almost all of them. So let's say I'm getting jabbed, jab, 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 absorb into that, and they're going to try to throw a jab after the hit, and then this continues it. And then jab into the charged haymaker. So this is the jab beating jump light kick type of play. You know, someone just throws jump light kick every time they get hit. This kind of, you'll have a string that reliably will beat that. This is my anti-guard break stance. So say someone's a bit heavy like I am, throwing out guard breaks a lot and heavy-ish moves. I can use this to get around like charged haymaker or guard breaks or body blow even. It's not very heavy, but this is kind of my beats that stuff. So like someone's, let's say charge for example. Someone's charge spamming me or got a lot of charges. So that string is reliably gonna beat their charge stuff. Let's say they're dodge spamming. This is like this is that fast string I told you about earlier. But it's also, I mean, it's not a very good string, but it's a string I keep in almost exclusively to punish dodge spamming because I hate it and I just don't want to deal with having to think that way, and I just want to just remove dodge spamming from their arsenal. So this is my anti-dodge spam stance, and this isn't a stance I start with very often because it's just a charge move sometimes, but typically I'll stick with this. This is also my like pressure stance too. It can be because I can, whatever that move is, close some distance there, and it's pretty quick. But anyways, so stances and strings that answer specific problems is useful too. So when you encounter those decks that are a bit gimmicky, you can just wreck them with your string that you have, and you know, no problems. Oh gee, I see that you're you're spamming jabs. No problem. Oh, you're dodge spamming. Do this the whole match. Not a problem. Oh, you're trying to break my guard. Stick with this stance. So, you get the idea. I've rambled long enough, and I hope this has been helpful. I want to see a lot more heavy decks out there. They're a lot of fun to play against. And, I don't know, I don't feel like there's enough of them out there. I feel like maybe some of the better players should really experiment with just going all out with some of these heavy attacks, seeing how far they can push it. So, yeah, that's about it.